Let me sketch out a situation for you and ask you if it sounds familiar. Russia begins amassing troops on another country's borders. The United States calls out Russia's belligerent moves and warns it not to invade. Everyone is on edge, wondering if Russia is about to invade, and if so, how the United States will respond. I could, of course, be describing the situation leading up to the invasion of Ukraine last month, but actually, I'm describing what was happening right here in this country, in Poland, in 1980.
Good evening. Poland and the possibility of Soviet military intervention was the subject of an unusual White House statement this afternoon. In that statement, President Carter said, "The United States is watching with growing concern the unprecedented buildup of Soviet forces along the Polish border and the closing of certain frontier regions." The statement also said that military intervention in Poland would have the most negative consequences.
Senior officials are operating on the assumption that the last thing the Russians want to do is invade Poland, recognizing an invasion will make everything much worse. But at the same time, the Russians continue to increase their military pressure on Poland. For example, on both sides of the East German-Polish border, a 40-mile wide strip has been closed to foreign observers. There are 10 Soviet divisions, about 100,000 troops in this area. On Poland's eastern front, from the Baltic military district in the north to the Carpathian in the south, Soviet forces are in what officials here call an enhanced state of readiness.
The consequences from the point of view of the West, I think, have been made clear to the Soviet leadership through a number of channels.
Now, this standoff with the Soviet Union was sparked by the success of a nascent pro-democracy here in Poland, pro-democracy movement here in Poland. You'll remember it, the Solidarity movement, which began as labor strikes in a Polish shipyard and quickly grew into a national phenomenon under its charismatic leader, Lech Walesa. The communist government in Poland was being forced into compromises with these democratic labor activists, and the Soviet Union didn't like that one bit. In the end, though, the Soviet Union didn't need to invade Poland. The communist Polish government declared martial law and staged its own military invention. Protests were brutally put down. Demonstrators were killed. Thousands of opposition activists were imprisoned. But that wasn't the end of the story. Actually, it was just the beginning of the story. Because the Solidarity movement wasn't destroyed. It operated underground through years of repression until it burst back into the open in the late 1980s and forced the government into something that had never happened in the history of communist Eastern Europe: free and fair elections.
The unthinkable was happening before their eyes. Poles relished every new result, which taken together added up to a crushing defeat for the previously unquestioned masters of Poland, the Communist Party.
It's one step in our escape from serfdom, from communism.
Solidarity computed that its candidates would completely control the new Polish Senate and win every contested seat in the more powerful Sejm, the other house in Poland's parliament. In Gdansk, however, Lech Walesa was not gloating. "We all must rebuild Poland," he said, no matter who won. With their first step towards democracy successfully taken, Poles descended on the Chinese embassy to protest the repression in that country. They had confronted their Communist Party at the ballot box, and not a single drop of blood had been shed.
The first domino to fall in the collapse of the Soviet Union fell right here in Poland. The leader of Solidarity, Lech Walesa, became Poland's first democratically elected president. Anti-communist revolutions swept across Eastern Europe. The Berlin Wall came down. In less than 3 years, the Soviet Union was no more.